Tribe was to do those odd and end design tasks from graphic to sound to maybe video, or even just like a workshop type of a deal where I could be like a facilitator or something. And suddenly I was like, okay, be a volunteer lead. And I was like, okay, what does that mean? And he's like, well, we're going to go after over 100 volunteers, and somebody needs to organize those people into teams and control the fact that everything gets done and information flows from the core team to the volunteer leads until in the end to the volunteers themselves. So I decided to jump on the task because I firmly believe that if somebody asks you something, they wouldn't ask if they wouldn't feel confident enough on the person that they could do it. And I had the time, like it was a month before the actual event. So I joined the team really, really late. But in the end, it was so positive experience. I loved it. I absolutely adored the way I got to see everybody's spirit gearing up to the event and seeing the volunteer team spirit on the event day itself. And it was really, really inspiring. It showed me the power of volunteer work and the joy and everything. Like, it gives you so much more than it takes. And I was so happy to serve the volunteers as their like caretaker almost.
Right. So that was a clear call to action, because at some point quite soon, I think, Stream 2020 will start being planned, and again, new volunteers will be needed. So yeah, if you want to learn new things, if you want to enjoy the vibe, if you want to develop your skills, that's definitely a thing to do.
Yeah, I fully agree. Like, the fact is that in these kind of things, this is an easy way to test your skills, and responsibility is given freely and trust, and you don't have to have a special background in anything, just the will and the want to do it. That's enough. It'll take you far.
And also, I know that you have been an active part of one more event, which was in the end of September. I mean, Sustainability Startup Weekend. How did it go for you?
Yeah, it was in the first meeting of the summer in June when I met the whole Tribe crew, and Valeria just shouted out like, "He's with me." And I was like, okay, well, what's the project? She was like, Startup Weekend. It's just getting going. We don't have anything yet done, but you're on the team now. And I hope you produce us some marketing material and like graphics. I was like, oh, well, I haven't done marketing communications that much, or I'm not a graphic designer, but let me give it a shot, because I'm almost a digital handyman at this point, like taking care of the event website and different like online tools and the designs that were all about that. So luckily we had a great marketing lead in that Gaia brand, and it was so fun to work with all of the team to make the event happen.
Originally, you're a coder. At least as far as I remember from your CV, you're a coder. And while you're making faces about it, I would like to remind our listeners that the interview with Kaja Brandt, who was marketing lead for Sustainability Startup Weekend, and also she is now part of Tribe team and involved in a few other projects, can be heard in a few episodes before. So yeah, Harri, how did you end up going from coding to design?
Well, I don't know where you got that impression. I've never seen myself as a coder. I don't know how it was so highlighted in my CV, but I have to say that I've always been a product person, and throughout and through in, I've been a product person, and I've always loved the idea of making the product the best selling point and the greatest. So ever since I was a kid, I was always excited about making things, and digital tools were coming up. When I was 12, like this whole scene of like free web space and .tk domains was a really, really big thing. So that's when I actually started. And basically, yeah, I was coding. Mostly like just my dumb websites for different kinds of like football manager teams that I had. And producing content was the most difficult thing. The thing I loved was like making something that people can access and people can use, that is good looking, functional, and has some cool tech in it. So development for me and software development was the way to start. Actually, like when you have a vision, you can just put it to action. So yeah, I did go into computer science bachelor when I arrived here in Tampere, mostly for the reason because I saw that the most straightforward path to entrepreneurship also. That's always like fascinated me. The only thing, like my naive vision was that the only thing you need is a couple of friends, Coca-Cola, pizza, and you just run with it. You lock yourself into a room, you emerge with the product. It was my first day in the University of Tampere when I went to a university bookstore And there were like 2 books that actually like grabbed my attention from all the shelves. I spent like an hour there before my lecture started or something. And one of them was about wine that was on sale. I bought that book. Well, I did go and work in Alko for a few years after that. And the other book that I didn't buy, but that was the most interesting book in the whole bookstore, was Donald Norman's Design of Everyday Things. I was so fascinated about it. And I listened to the previous podcast where Norman Nielsen Group was mentioned, and I have to say that everything in that world of the user-centered design and usability, they just like threw my head into a spin, and I was like, okay, there's actually such things as design and good design when it comes to digital products. I had the vague idea before in my head, so user experience and interaction design has guided my path afterwards that. So yeah, I did some software development and went towards the human-centered design in the university when I had to choose my master's program.
All right, that explains. I guess I ran out of questions for today. Thank you very much, Harri, for this interview. There was an interesting overview, in my opinion, about the volunteer life within Tribe Tampere startup community and the design path in your particular case, or the path towards design in your particular case. Thank you very much for having time for this interview. That was fun. Hope our listeners enjoy it. And yeah, see you on Monday.
No niin, sitten on hyvä. Kiitos.
This was Tribecast episode 37, and I hope that you learned something new of the interviews we got for you this week. Next week, we'll continue talking to the active players of Tampere startup ecosystem, and for now, I would like to go out. So I wish you all a great weekend, take care of yourselves, and stay warm and tuned.